Welcome to the Living Room Vibe podcast. I'm your host, Danny Lourdes, creating a space where real people have raw conversations. Make yourself at home and let's get into it. What's good, guys? I hope you're all cozied up because today we're diving into something that touches every single one of us. But first, I want y'all to meet someone special who's joining our living room today. Chris Maxwell is one of the amazing dynamic hosts of the Men's Department podcast, but also a dedicated husband, a proud dad of 3 beautiful girls, including a set of twins. Beyond his family life, he's a fitness enthusiast and a man guided by his faith. Chris, welcome to the Living Room Vibe.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dynamic. That just feels excessive.
Look, I called it like I said.
Hey, all right, I'll take it.
You already got my husband listening to episodes over there, and he's already fallen in love. So
Sensational.
So one of the things I've always appreciated about you, even from afar, Chris, is how you navigate life as both a man who stays fit and active while balancing life, marriage, and being a dad of 3 girls. Like you're a fitness enthusiast, podcast host, but you're also a guy who's completely surrounded by feminine energy with your wife and your daughters. How do you live in a house full of girl power?
Man, to be completely honest, it's not uncommon for me. Because growing up, I've been surrounded by it anyway. Because I hate to kind of fall into this trope or this like stigma, but like I grew up in a house with just me and my mom. Like
okay.
I grew up in a single parent household for the most part, and then during that time, my aunt moved in with us, and then she had a child, which she had a daughter.
Oh, okay.
So for the longest, I've been surrounded by women. So that's not something that is new to me. But I think in this space now these women, I guess for lack of a better term, like belonging to me, brings it into a different perspective. So I don't look at it as a negative thing, honestly. If anything, it's teaching me new ways to navigate them. Because I feel like oftentimes when people ask me, it's like, oh yeah, you have kids, I tell them I have all girls. They give me this answer, it's like, oh, you must have been a dog in your day.
Oh, I know you hate that.
I hate that with a passion. Not just because of me, but it almost comes off as though it's like my daughters are like a punishment.
Yeah.
Because of a past life. Like, I ain't gonna say I was the most innocent guy out there. I mean, I've done my dirt, but still, like, my daughters aren't a punishment for like choices that I've made. So if anything, they've taught me different levels of like gentleness, empathy. They've taught me how to not just be so rough.
Yeah.
Like around the edges. Like they've softened me up a bit, and really strengthened me to care more about their emotions, their feelings, and really just trying to like dive in to understand them for where they're at. So I have to look at it in a way of like I'm learning
All the time. Well, today's conversation is all about shouldering the expectations, like the unwritten rules of modern love. It's like relationships come with these invisible instruction manuals that nobody actually gave us, but somehow we're supposed to know what's in them. So, Chris, in your work on your podcast, what are some of the unspoken expectations guys feel that they need to live up to in their relationships?
So it's almost like we have to we have to know what you're thinking and what you're feeling at all times.
Yeah.
That's unrealistic.
Yeah.
We have yet to inherit that mutant gene of telepathy. I don't know when that's gonna happen. So in that instance, conversations need to happen. Like it's just not a thing. And even in the sense of like I'll say like certain roles in the house. I haven't really experienced this too much, but I know that there are a lot of things that are expected of men to do
Yeah.
in the household, to be providers, to be protectors, which is great.
Right.
But I don't think many people talk about like what provision looks like. Usually when people say, "Oh, you got to be a provider," it's strictly monetary.
Yep.
Which I'm like, it's 2025. Ain't no one man about to be providing monetarily for an entire family by himself unless he making a meal,
Right.
minimum.
Right.
So what I've had to realize, or even with like conversations I've had with my wife, with Ashley, we've had to understand what providing looks like outside of like monetary means, because we both work.
Right.
The kids go to school. Like we both have our things that we do outside of work. So it's not realistic for me to expect her to do all of the at home things while I just work and come home. No, we both have jobs outside of here. We both add to the house as well. Like for an example, in the sense of just cooking, that's supposed to be one of the roles of the wife. She cooks.
Right.
No. I work a job where I have a hybrid position. So I'm in the office 3 days a week. I'm at home the other 2 days.
Okay.
So for those days that I have to go into the office, yes, it makes sense for her to do that because I'm fighting Atlanta traffic both ways.
So you're going into the city.
I'm going into the city.
That's a good 2 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I get off at 5. I ain't getting home till 6:45, 7 o'clock.
Right.
So if you expected me to cook when we get home, we ain't eating till about
8:15.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for her to do that. But on the days when I'm working from home, it would be stupid of me to expect her to get off work, pick up the kids, get home, and then cook while I've been at home all day.
Right.
No.
Right.
That's just not gonna happen. So on those days, yes, I cook. On the weekends, I try to do most of the cooking. Because again, she does that 3 days out of the week. So let me even out that spread and just do it on the days that I'm at home.
I like that. Teamwork makes the dream work.
That's what it's called.
It reminds me of those video games, the old school ones that we had to play, but we also had to like figure out what we were doing as we're playing the game. Like we didn't have any. What is it? These games now come with like the 15 million page instruction
book. Yep.
You know, but it's different when like the stakes are so high because it's your actual life and like your relationship is on the line. You know what I mean? And, with your marriage and things like that. So I'm curious. Was there ever a moment in your marriage where you realized you were just following a should that wasn't working for you and Ashley?
No, I don't think so. I think with us, I think we've done a very good job of like communicating expectations early on, but understanding that as time changes, we do too. So if there are things that come up that may rub the person the wrong way, or if there's an expectation that they were wanting and it wasn't met, we don't argue about it. It's just like, hey, I felt like this when you did this and this happened. Okay, bet. When this comes up again, what are you expecting? Like, what are we wanting to happen out of this situation, so that we're not coming across we're not blindsided by stuff.
Right.
Like I don't think we've ever had a situation where it's like, well, this should have happened. Nah. Beforehand, we were like, hey, I was kind of feeling like this when this took place. Like, how can we build upon that and just kind of make that better moving forward?
Now, how long have you guys been married now?
Let's see. What are we in 2025? This will be year 9 in May.
Damn.
I know.
How long did you guys date?
Let's see. We dated a year and a half.
Okay.
Dated a year and a half. Engaged 6 months.
All right. Hit that ground running.
Oh yeah. ain't no point wasting time. What for?
Do you feel like you guys kind of got like a good idea of when you guys were dating of what you felt like, how you guys, I guess, thought about what you guys thought about gender roles?
I mean, outside of like really just like the basic stuff, like I take out the trash, do the yard work, stuff like that. One thing that I feel like I had to honestly try to like add into my tool belt per se, was really just, what's the word I want to use? Doing like at home alterations. So like if instead of calling somebody to do something like just outright, she like to want to have us like figure it out, like how we can fix it ourselves first.
Oh, okay.
So like, funny story. So I love my girls. I do. So this was years ago. There was a situation that took place where whoever had the house before us, when they made the doors, they put the locking mechanism on the inside where the kids are instead of on the outside. So we're getting them ready for bed. Somehow they locked the door and cut off the light on themselves. So they're in there screaming bloody murder. In the meantime, I'm trying to use every old hood trick that I knew to get that door open. I tried to use a credit card, open that mug, wouldn't do it. I tried a butter knife in the joint, that joint wouldn't do it.
Oh, I was about to say, butter knife, that's like almost foolproof.
I swear I thought the same thing, but nope, didn't do it. And as they're just screaming louder and louder, I looked at my wife, I was like,
this door about to get kicked out.
I gotta do it. I was like, it's got to happen. So I grabbed the handle and I shoulder rushed it twice. Boom, flew right off the handle.
I know them girls was like, oh my gosh.
Oh my. I don't know if they were shocked, stunned, impressed. I couldn't tell in the moment. But that cracked the door frame and all the stuff that we had. So instead of calling a handyman that was probably going to charge us $500 to fix a door frame, I had to figure it out. So again, kind of going back to not having my father in the house, these weren't things I was taught early on. So I had to learn how to be a handyman, basically.
Look, sometimes I'm gonna say, I feel like that's definitely a gender role for men that I feel like women expect is that handyman. But at the same time, you gotta play to your strengths, and if that's not something that you are good at, you gotta understand: are we a family that gets it done, or are we a family that pays to get it done?
Look, man.
Because sometimes when you're trying to figure it out yourself, you cause them more damage.
You cause more damage. I know it. Like certain stuff, I'm just not fooling with. Anything electric, anything dealing with that hot water heater, plumbing, I'm not doing it. But if you talking about replacing like a floorboard, like you talking about installing like drywall or something like that, I got you. Anything else that's gonna cause thousands of dollars worth of damage,
right?
You can forget about it.
When it could be a domino effect of one thing impacting another thing, you just gotta pay to get it done.
There are people that train for this. I am not one of them.
So for me, coming from a background where I was in foster care for part of my childhood and then navigating different cultural and spiritual influences, I had this like patchwork quilt of what relationships should look like, what their expectations should be. Some pieces I felt like fit beautifully, and then other pieces I've had to like cut away over time. But also taking that time to figure out what pieces to cut away. And it kind of, reminded me of like, our lock journey. Chris has locks like me, guys.
Yes.
Where sometimes you gotta like let go of what's not serving you to make room for growth, like when we, black people gotta cut their hair. It's a thing that I feel like black people I ain't gonna cut my hair because it ain't gonna grow back.
All right. Right. Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? The Tesses. Anyway. But it kind of reminded me of how our past can influence what we feel like gender roles, should be.
Yeah.
And I grew up in a single, with a single mom as well. Did that change anything for you growing up with just your mom about what gender roles? Because I'm pretty sure you saw her doing it all. Like you saw her be mom and dad, of what those gender roles, are, quote unquote. Did that change your perspective in any way, in the sense of, I gotta be the one to do it all, or my wife Ashley has to be able to do it all because my mama did it all?
That was it, honestly. And I don't think that was really verbalized in our relationship, but it was something that I noticed. Because I feel like early on, like I saw moments or spots where it's like I was kind of lazily doing some things because I felt like my natural like reaction was just let my wife handle it, which is not, it's not right. It's not biblical. It's not none of that. To put that pressure solely on her. So now I've had times where I've gone to the extreme too, where it's like I've tried to make sure I've done everything around the house.
Right.
That's, again, you're gonna burn out doing that stuff too. So I think, again, for us, we figure out where our strengths lie, what she can handle, what I can handle, and just making sure that it's even across the board for the both of us. That we're not feeling burnt out with stuff. Because like financially, my wife, she got that on lock.
Right.
She's big saver, I'm big spender. All day, every day. But that's just one of her strengths when it comes to that. So when I look at what she's doing, I try to find stuff that I can do to like even it out.
Yeah.
Again, so that we're not both burnt out, but we're both thriving in this marriage and not just surviving it.
It's about having those honest conversations, like where you kind of ask yourself, why are we doing things this way? Is it because it serves us, or is it because this is what society says we should do?
Yep.
Smith and I have had to have many conversations about, is this working for us? Is this not? Why are we doing this? Because when I think about the spiritual impact, the societal impact, our trauma impact of, why we do things, and we bring all that into our relationships. I think there's a lot of unlearning we have to do as well.
Absolutely.
And what do you feel like are some of the biggest things you've had to unlearn when it comes to gender norms?
So I think I've had to, I don't know. It's kind of weird because I don't think I went in with a certain idea of what our roles would be. I always felt like going into it, like we would have this conversation of, all right, what's going to work for us? And we have that conversation pretty frequently now. That's it's good. Like, okay, I know this is what society feels like a man's role should be or a woman's role should be, but we're not them. So what's going to work for us? What can we do spiritually that's going to benefit us? What can we do financially that's going to benefit us? Around the house, what do we want this to look like? Because at the end of the day, everybody's marriages aren't going to look the same.
Right.
So we can't try to follow the same cookie cutter idea of this is a man's role, this is a woman's role. All right, that's great as a basis.
Right.
But now let's input actual people and see, okay, does this fit y'all? No? Right. Bet. Okay, so take that out. Now does it fit? Nope. Cool. Let's add that in. How about that?
Right.
Still don't fit y'all? Then figure it out.
Right. Keep moving those pieces until you get the right fit.
Keep moving the pieces until you get the right fit. Because if we try to fit one mold as to what those roles are going to be, I'm telling you, you're going to be miserable.
Who you telling?
Every single time you are going to be miserable. Because who wants a marriage that looks like somebody else's?
I be thinking about that when I be like, when you drive into the neighborhoods, and especially a lot of these new build neighborhoods with their cookie cutter houses.
They look the exact same.
And you're like, come to my house. I'm the fourth one down. And you like, okay, you really got to count.
You really got to count that
like, they all look the same compared to being like, come to my house. I'm the one with the red door. You know what I mean? Like you can throw your little flavor on it and stuff like that. But yeah, it makes me think about the cookie cutter neighborhoods. Oh man. So let's go back. You kind of touched on it a little bit
Okay.
to money.
Yes.
So there's so much wrapped up in, the money, who earns what, who manages the finances, how do those decisions get made? How have you and Ashley navigated those financial roles in your relationship? I know you said a little bit that, she's the saver, you're the spender, but how do you guys navigate that in the sense of, a lot of, I've actually talked to quite a few people who have they keep their accounts separate. Like they're like, husband pays the mortgage, my wife pays the bills. Or, when it comes to spending money, it's some people say, hey, you spending more than 100, chat with me, or, whatever. Like, how do you guys come up with making those decisions, and how do you guys navigate that?
So both paychecks go into one pot because we got a shared account. We got a checking and savings in that. But we also have our own separate Cash App cards. So each time we get paid, we both take. So if she gets paid, let's say on a Thursday, I get paid on Friday. That Thursday, she taking 50 for herself. I'm taking 50 for me. When I get paid, she take another 50 for herself. So out of every pay period, we take $100 out for ourselves to do
whatever you want.
Whatever you want. That's your fun money. Once that fun money is gone,
that's it. It is.
It is what it is. But all of the major bills and stuff are gonna come out of that joint account. Mortgage, lights, water, all the important bills, groceries, gas, all of that stuff is coming out of that. So we both put into it. That handles major bills. We got our own fun money on the side.
How do you feel? I don't know if you've ever heard anyone talk about the separate accounts, or because as a backup plan, things don't go well. We just have our own accounts already.
That's weird to me.
It don't seem like you planning for failure.
You planning for failure to me? That sounds so weird. Like, what? Why is there a backup plan needed? If you're choosing to do life with this person. If you feel like there's a backup plan needed, then there was something that wasn't talked about in the beginning.
Yeah.
There were some doubts that you didn't
work out
before you said, I do it at altar or in the courthouse or however y'all did it.
Right.
However, whatever floats your boat. But, that was always weird to me.
It's funny. I feel like this is becoming more common, like this whole separate account thing. Because Smith and I have one account. Like we have our joint account, very similar to the way you and Ashley do things. And, when I talk about it with, some of my girlfriends, it's like what? Y'all ain't got no separate account. I'm like,
for what?
Right. Like when I want to buy something, I buy something. When he wants to buy something, he buys something. When it's something that big, we talk about it and we make a decision, the day.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely if it's an unexpected thing, or like my wife sees something that she's like, oh, I really want that. And then at that point we have a conversation, and usually I'm cool with it because I'm all for please go.
Right. You like, I'm the spender, so I'm good.
I'm like, go spoil yourself, because she don't really do it that much anyway. Like she don't really do stuff for herself. So anytime that she wants to, I encourage it. Please go. Because I know we're not hurting for nothing.
Right.
Like I know what it feels like to live paycheck to paycheck.
Oh yeah.
And we ain't nowhere near that. Like we ain't rich.
Right.
But we ain't hurting either.
You're right.
Just saying.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, no. Anytime you feel like you want to do that, yes, definitely run it by me. But at the end of the day, I'm usually gonna say, go, and vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And my marriage with Smith, our financial conversations have evolved over time. So we've been married since 2006. Don't ask me how many years is that, because maybe 18.
19?
19? Okay.
Well, this be 19.
Yeah, in August, it'll be 19 years. And we dated 4 years before that. So we've been together over half my life. But, our financial conversations have evolved over time, especially since now I'm a business owner and, having to do them business taxes and all this other stuff. And I think when he and I first started off, we got a lot of, you know, Smith needs to take care of the finances because he's the man of the house and the relationship and things like that. And not, I mean, he's in finance. So is he great with finance? Yes. I mean, he does corporate finance for a living, but it was just all because he does it all the time at work. When at home, he was like, I don't have to deal with this, you know? He was like, you know, I really don't want to deal with this. And so we're sitting here struggling because he's like, this is not something I want to do. And so things were, you know, late or whatever, because it just wasn't something that, you know, it was being prioritized. And so, but we're sitting here struggling because we're listening to the advice of him being the man and this is a role that he should have. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, like, he was like, I don't want to do this. I just want to bring home money and know that the bills are paid. And I was just like, finally, I was just like, I got you. So, you know, right. I'm going to take care. That's me. I'm good with it. I want to do that. And that's kind of how, you know, we've been maneuvering since, I think, you know, like I said, like, are we doing this because this works for us? Or are we doing it because society says we should?
Right.
Yeah. But when I say when we finally just trying to change that up, it freed us. Mm-hmm. My goodness. Nothing was played. Like, things became very smooth. It was because I didn't realize how much tension it was bringing. Yeah. Doing something that wasn't a strength, you know, trying to force it, you know, that round peg in a square hole. So let's flip the script a little bit.
All right.
I want to talk about you in the fitness realm. And, you know, I call you a fitness enthusiast. I was gonna say like an expert, because, you know, I be seeing stuff you post online and you be getting it in with the reps and stuff.
Yes.
So you see how physical appearances and body image play into relationships and like self-worth, especially, you know, when you go into the gyms and things like that. How do you feel like these expectations differ from men versus women, and like how do they affect relationships?
Oh, that is a very good question. I'll say from the general man perspective, they expect their partner to be like in shape 24/7 all the time, and if you're not, I don't want you. While they over here looking like a busted can of baked beans. Like, my brother in Christ, that ain't how that work, bro. But I also think that like a lot of people do it for that validation as well. Like that's just on both sides. Like, a lot of people want to be in shape, want to be fit, just so that they can garner the attention from the opposite sex. And I think I kind of fell into that category a little bit too. Like, even when I was married, like, I wanted to be in shape, you know, for my wife and all that stuff. And then when she told me, she was like, I really don't care about that too much. I was like, huh. Okay then. I need to find a new reason to want to work out now.
Yeah.
So that honestly sent me down like I don't want to say like a deep spiral, but it sent me down this path of having to be honest with myself and figure out, it's like, all right, why am I really doing this? Again, it goes back to insecurity.
Yeah.
Needing that validation, like needing to be told I look a certain way, or being told that, yes, I'm attractive and things of that nature. And I guess that kind of goes back into the earlier part of the conversation. Like, that was an expectation that I wanted. It's like, yo, I want to know that my wife finds me attractive. I want not for her to just tell me. It's like, no, like I want that vocalized. I want that to be shown in various ways. So I was like, man, I didn't realize like how much me doing that was tied into my insecurity. So now that I'm really just kind of like past that, it's helped me to really just kind of like dig into my fitness more and wanting to do it more so for myself, and then letting whatever she says or does be a byproduct of what I've found within myself. So yes, I think a lot of people really just have to get out of this place of like just wanting the attention and wanting to just do it for themselves. And if other people decide to want to notice it, cool.
Right.
But at the end of the day, this has to be something that you want for yourself.
So were you into fitness before you guys were married, like when you were dating?
Yeah, probably not as much as I am now, honestly. Because I just didn't have the means nor the motivation for it. It wasn't as consistent because I had times where I would go for a while, fall off, go again, fall off. It was kind of like that roller coaster for a while. But I really think it honestly didn't really kick in until we had kids. Honestly, so it's like it was definitely like an interest, but now it's more so a conviction for me. Because yeah, once my daughter was born, once Iris was born, I had to kick it in overdrive because I've seen guys my age not be able to run with their kids for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Not be able to interact with them, not be able to just enjoy their children or enjoy the life that they have now because of bad health.
Yeah.
So I took that as like my reason why to really kick off that motivation for working out. And now I'm at a point now to where it's like if I don't get in at least like 5 days a week, I'm off.
5 days a week?
Minimum.
Man. Okay.
Minimum. I got a set of bands in the room right now. I've been getting my morning workouts in.
Okay.
Because that little fitness center they got here is trash.
So have your convictions about being fit and I'm assuming also eating healthy and stuff like that, have you transferred or had that pushed that expectation on Ashley?
Not at all.
To do the same?
Not at all.
Okay.
I don't expect her to do it. Like if she sees me being consistent and she wants to hop on, by all means,
Right.
let's do it. But I've never pushed it on her to like do what I'm doing. Like if she's asked questions, cause she usually is like, she's now working out at work and like, she's always ate healthier than I did anyway.
Right.
So I wasn't worried about that part. But if she ever had like questions about like, all right, how do you do this? I want to try to work on this, bet I got you. I'll give her some advice, give her some workouts, and then let her do as she pleases. Cause she doesn't work out in the same ways that I do. What she really excels at or what she really enjoys is like going to different dance classes, doing like light hit workout stuff like that, which I do those, but she wants something that she can like enjoy and not feel like
working out,
not feel like she's working out. Yeah. So
yeah, me and her, we spirit animals in that way. It's like if I feel like I'm working out, I don't want to do it. But if I'm just having fun and I get a workout in the meantime, I'm all for it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's awesome that you, even though you feel so strongly about your own health, because sometimes that's how it is. It's like if one is really into health, they're like, you need to be really into health with me because this is something that I'm really passionate about, and and being healthy and things like that. But I think it's great that you allow your conviction to be your own and give her the space to figure out where she wants to be with that and how she wants to navigate that on her own.
For sure.
Yeah, I love that because I think even with the girls, like they're watching, And
oh no, they for sure be in there trying to work out with me too.
I love that.
All the time. Daddy, what does this band do? Put that down for yourself.
Snap it back.
Man, look, I'm just waiting on the day.
You know it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen one of these days, and I'm gonna hate it. So if anything, I at least like, cause they all do. They're in gymnastics now, so they all have their like own stuff that they gotta do. So I'll help them with that when we're at home. Whether it be like they need to do pull-ups or they need to work on planks or something. Usually if they see me doing push-ups, they try to jump down and do it with me, or they'll jump on my back as well. Give me a little extra weight, I'm like, geez, man. But yeah, no, I definitely love when they're trying to be a part or just join in themselves. So
So parenting really puts these gender roles under a microscope. Especially, I found that with raising my son Ethan, who's on the spectrum, it has really forced me to question like all the other assumptions that I feel like I've made of what boys and men should be. Because I've really had to just find my own normal when it comes to raising him.
Right.
Because I'm literally, every day is different.
Yep.
But as a girl dad, what expectations do you want your daughters to break free from in their future relationships? And I know they're young, but I also know just as parents, we dream for our kids. And,
Right.
And one of those is always going to be who they end up with.
Yeah. Just don't go for the pretty boys.
What's wrong with the pretty boys?
Both y'all can't be in the mirror at the same time.
Hey,
No, I'm just kidding.
you're the best.
I'm kidding. Kinda. Not really. Yeah, I don't know. I think for them, I really want them to know their worth. Know their self-worth, because I've seen too many situations. I've been a part of too many situations where we look at a relationship as our fulfillment.
Yeah.
We look at relationships as, this is what's going to make me whole. This is what's going to give me purpose and things of that nature, which I'm grateful for my wife, because she was not that way. But I want that to kind of bleed over into them. It's like, I want them to understand that you are perfect. You are whole. You are who you need to be with or without a relationship. I want them to experience that. I want them to be able to enjoy their singleness as long as they can.
Right.
I welcome anybody that comes up to my doorstep and gives me a firm handshake. If you don't,
There's the door.
goodbye. Because if you can't look me in my eye and respect that part, you ain't gonna respect her. But I just want them to grow into themselves, know themselves, so that whenever that part or that relationship does come, they're not looking for themselves in it. They're just bringing who they are into it with whoever it is that they decide to date.
Yeah, something that I tell Savannah, my daughter Savannah, is, the relationship, whoever you decide to date, it should be an enhancement.
Yep.
It shouldn't be, I'm feeling this void or this hole or this missing piece in me.
Agreed.
And so without them, I'm broken or I'm worthless. You know what I mean? But no, it's an enhancement. And I really try to instill those same things into her, with just knowing your worth, and I agree. I really, really hope she enjoys her single years. And really knows what it is to be by herself. Because I think that's something that I think this generation, her generation, is it's this fear of being alone. Like they always have to have their time filled with someone or something, you know what I mean? And have this fear of being alone, but really understanding there's so much value in knowing yourself.
Agreed.
You can't do that until you by yourself.
That part. You can't jump into a relationship trying to figure out who you are at that time, because at that point you got other people you got to consider too. It's
crazy. At that point, it's like, instead of you trying to pack your own luggage and tend to your own garden, you over here putting their stuff in your luggage, and and you don't even, at that point, it's just muddy and mixed up. You don't even know what you're doing.
That part.
Oh man. So for our listeners who might be in a position where they're feeling trapped into their own gender expectations in their relationship, what's something that's practical that they can do right now to kind of start the conversation with their partner?
Simply just ask, like, yo, what works for us? I think that's simply put, figure out how do you want your household to run? How do you want your marriage to look? How do you want your relationship to look. Because again, there's no cookie cutter solution to this stuff. Because the whole thing of like gender roles, I feel like people really try and equate that to how like our grandparents did it.
Yeah.
I mean, back in those times, yes, the man could bring home all the money and the wife could stay home and do this and do that with the kids and stuff like that. But even back then, like if that was the expectation, that was understood during that time.
Right. Right.
But there were also other things that came along with that, because your granddaddy probably had your grandma over here, somebody else grandma down the road.
Yep.
Like he flipping moo-moos in 2 different houses.
I'm
like,
telling you.
is that really what you want?
Right.
So in today's age, like that's just not feasible.
Yeah.
So throw whatever map, whatever instructions that you had, throw that out the window and make your own type of instructions for your marriage. How do you want it to look? How do you want it to run? How do you want it to function? What's going to be the best thing for you and your partner? And then roll with it.
I'll add to that. I feel like I think even the way you have those conversations matter. Like instead of saying, "Why do you always expect me to do blah 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 blah
Right.
blah X Y Z?" Instead saying, "Hey, I'm curious as to why how it was decided that I would handle this part of my life, you know, and really come out of a place of curiosity to and wanting to have change and solution instead of being accusatory."
Absolutely.
You know, what they say is easy to you'll get further with a bear trying to give them honey than to swat it with a stick. You know, because I think even in those conversations for Smith and I, you know, even in our conversations, I've had to learn, you know, the not realizing how accusatory I was being, and wondering at the same time, why is he so defensive? You know, but it's having conversations like, hey, when you did this, it made me feel.
Yep.
Compared to when you did this, you did. You know, it really does just change the dynamic of a conversation.
No, absolutely. 100%. And again, I think even going into those conversations, like bring it from a place of, like you said, really just trying to understand. It's like, hey, I want your opinion on Exhibit A. Like, how do you feel about you doing this, I do this? Or how do you feel about this? Really just kind of getting to know that person, because these conversations might not resolve themselves the first time.
I was about to ask you that. Like, how do you and Ashley go about handling things when y'all just not in agreement?
With a lot of grace. A lot of grace has to be given, because you're having to understand now that like you're two people trying to become one. So you have your emotions, they have theirs. So now you're trying to figure out how that fits together. And it's going to be a lot of bumping heads, like during that time. But I think you have to understand that like it's not, these times of friction aren't coming out of malice or anger or anything like that. It's like, no, you have to understand that no, we're partners in this. You have to understand, even when it's not said, that this person loves me, I love them. So anything that's being said in this time isn't to hurt me.
Yeah.
We're just this is just a tough part of learning.
Yeah. It's growing pains.
It's growing pains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I early on in my marriage, when Smith would tell me something that either hurt him or something that I could, you know, grow in, an area I can improve in, it always felt like he was my enemy. Like, I was just like, you know, it wasn't, and granted, he was, I'm the feisty one, right? So, you know, he was not coming from a place of, you know, like you said, malice or anything like that. But even in the way he approached me, it was very gentle, right? But I think, you know, my own stuff, insecurities and things like that, is just, he automatically became an enemy. Like, you're trying to tear me down in some kind of way when really it was, he was trying to build me up and help me grow.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like that in the moment. And I was like, oh, those growing pains. They can be real tough at times, especially when you're the one needing to do the growing.
Yeah.
Yep. And there were a lot of times where it seemed to always be me that needed the growing, So before we start to wrap up, I have one more question for you.
What you got?
If you could wave a magic wand and, remove one gender expectation from relationships everywhere, like with the click of a switch, what would it be and why?
I think it goes back to my earlier statement that men provide monetarily only. And the reason being is because that limits a man in his manhood. It brings a lot of pressure.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
To the man, like if money is the only thing that he has to offer, if he loses his job, then what?
Right.
Now what you gonna do?
Right.
If he ain't got that to provide.
Especially in this economy.
Boy.
Everything up in the air.
Oh my gosh, it is insane. So I think I would do away with that because again, like I think we have to understand and realize that men are multifaceted.
Yeah.
Men and women, honestly, but this is just in the concept of men in this particular moment or this example. Because I've lived that. Like people have told me it's like, oh, you got to be the man in the house. You got to, be the breadwinner and stuff like that. My wife has made more money than me for the longest time. I am just now in a position where I make a little bit more than her yearly. So early on, like she's literally seen me grow in my profession or through the many jobs that I've had. Like I went from working 3-4 different jobs, like part-time jobs, Target, PetSmart, Party City, all of that in one area to working at a country club as a server, going from there to working at this tech industry with one company. They got bought out. I was there for like 5 years, and then I'm now with this other company that is just now putting me over what she's making. So I was just like, up until that time, she was the breadwinner, but at no point did she make me feel less than because
Right.
because I was able to provide in other ways that isn't just monetary. Because even now, like with our daughters, when it's time to do hair, like I may not be the one that do the hairstyles, but I can take them down.
Right.
I can wash them.
You can ponytail it.
I can ponytail it.
Right.
Like I can prep so that by the time she's done doing one head, you got 2 more waiting, wash, prep, ready to go.
Right.
Blow dried, whatever.
I mean, and it be taking days. It be taking a whole day.
A whole day.
To get heads done.
So I'm like, when she say, I need to get these girls' hair done, I already know from the time they wake up, I'm cooking breakfast. I'm making sure that they eat. I'm taking down hair. All right, everybody hair's out. Bam, let's go ahead and get this wash out the way.
Right.
Washing all them. Boom, boom. Y'all good? Babe, you ready to rock?
Right.
All right. And she had it. Everything else, I'm cooking lunch. I'm cooking dinner. Like, I'm taking care of everything else around the house while she's focusing on those heads. So if I was just strictly providing monetarily,
I ain't gonna lie, there'd be some business going on.
You feel me?
Yeah, if you just come home and be like, well, I went to work today and some money hit our account last week, so I'm good. My role, my responsibility is over and done.
Nah, that ain't it. That ain't it. Provision looks more. It's a lot deeper than that. It is a lot deeper than that. So I want people to gain that type of understanding. Yeah,
and I think about the pressure when you're talking about the pressure. It puts on men. I feel like I've seen it in some of my male friendships where, when they're not working or they've lost a job or they don't make as much as their partner, there's this pressure and this anxiety that I've seen that's just, they're constantly weighed down, and it really does, because they bought into that is my greatest value. That is my greatest piece that I can give. And when that's not happening, you know, it's almost like their legs are cut off from under them.
Right.
You know, they can't even stand tall. Like they feel incomplete. They feel broken. And I've seen also with that when they get that job again, or when they're starting to contribute to the household financially, they seem to stand tall again. And I'm like, man, like I hate that for them, that their worth is so tied to what they make. Because there's sometimes you just won't make more than your spouse.
Yeah.
Because of the job or the profession. Like if your wife is a surgeon and you're over here, you know, working in communications, you ain't gonna make more. You gonna make
it's just not.
It ain't happening. You know, and so, but I think I love that Ashley has just never made you feel less than, you know, like that was never the basis of your relationship. It was never, you know, a pillar in your relationship to where, you know, she treated you differently because she made more or because you didn't necessarily have a career of what, you know, corporate should look like and things like that, you know?
Yeah, no, if anything, I'd probably say I put that pressure on myself. Because even before we started dating, like when I got baptized, we were part of the same like small group. And I've always noticed her. Because even initially, like when I saw her, I was like, that is a grown woman. I ain't got a chance. I ain't even gonna pursue.
You're like, what am I bringing to this?
What am I adding to this equation?
How am I gonna enhance this woman?
I'm not. So I'm just gonna high and by for the longest time. And by the grace of God, boy, he gave me a chance. He's like, here's your door. If you squander it, that's on you, my boy.
Right. But I'm going to open it for you.
I'm going to open it for you. And I step through that mug 10 toes down.
That's it. He's like, look, I'm coming here and I'm going to say it with my chest.
Look, man. But yeah, no, I've always felt like I wanted to put myself in a position where it's like, I want to be of an asset to you.
Yeah. I love
That's
that.
it.
You know, something that Smith and I, we refer to our household, it's a business, you know. We're Lourdes Enterprises. And, you know, and that's how we run things. We have our little board meetings when we talk about things and, you know, whether it be dinner for the week, the kids, finances, you know, just keep our business going.
Yep.
You know, and keep it top tier. And at times, sometimes, you know, I think about, when I think about gender roles, I think sometimes people think they need to be equal. Like, I do this, this, and this. So if I do these 4 things, you need to do these 4 things, you know, or equal in the sense of effort. Yep. And, you know, what they say, like, you know, marriage is 50-50 and stuff like that. But I'm like, no, it's sometimes it's 100-100.
It's 100-100.
And sometimes it's 20-80.
Yep.
Like, if I don't have that, I don't know, 80% that I'm usually giving, he covers the slack.
He gonna have to pick it up.
Because it's always gonna have to equal 100. You know what I'm saying? Always. So sometimes it's 60-40. Sometimes it's 80-20.
Yep.
You know, and I think once you understand that, it always be moving up. You know what I mean? You always be on a plane of moving forward together.
100%.
Oh man, I think for me, if I had a magic wand, one of the things that expectations I would have done away with is just that thinking that there's a right way. You know, going back to that cookie cutter ness of relationships. You know, like, because, you know, like you said, we're all very unique. You know, we all have different needs, we have different dreams, we have different traumas that make us different. And I think there's beauty in finding someone who wants to create something authentic with you, you know, and not following someone else's blueprint.
Yeah.
you know. So,
Absolutely.
like you said, it don't work all the time for everybody.
Don't.
So,
It really don't.
oh man, Chris, this conversation has been so good, nourishing, and satisfying in all the right ways.
Yes, Lord.
Thank you so much for bringing your authentic self to the living room today. Before we head out, please let our listeners know where they can find you and the Men's Department podcast.
Absolutely. So anywhere that you can find podcasts, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, we're on YouTube, we're on TikTok, we're on Twitter, Instagram, the whole nine. It's usually, if you search for the Men's Department, you will find us. It's a black and gold logo. Somebody told us our logo looks very pretentious at some point. I don't understand how, but anywho, anywhere that you can find Men with Mics, good ones, by the way. we'll say that you'll find us. So,
are you guys on Instagram?
We are on Instagram.
What's your Instagram handle?
The Men's Department _.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys heard it here first. Go ahead and follow, and listen to their podcast. Like I said, my husband just found out about it, and he has already been listening to episodes, and he's like, yeah, we're gonna listen on our drive home. And I'm like, okay, honey, maybe in your earbuds, because I like to listen to music when I'm driving.
Heard.
Yes, but thank you so much for bringing your perspective to our living room today. Remember, guys, new episodes drop every Wednesday, so hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on more conversations like this one.
Peace.
That's all for today's episode of the Living Room Vibe podcast, where real people have raw conversations. I'm your host, Danny Lourdes. Thanks for vibing with me. If you're feeling the vibe, follow us on Instagram at the LRV podcast, as well as hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. It helps more people find their way to our living room. And as always, thanks for listening. Bye.